Most people believe their money decisions are logical. Psychology suggests many of those decisions were made long before they earned their first paycheck. Imagine two people receiving the exact same unexpected bonus. The same amount. On the same day. One quietly transfers every dollar into savings. The other finally buys something they've wanted for years. Neither decision is automatically right. Neither is automatically wrong. Yet within seconds, most of us begin judging them. One is responsible. The other is reckless. But here's what makes this fascinating. The decision that shaped today's choice may have been made years ago, before they understood what a paycheck was, before they owned a wallet, before they even knew what money really meant. Because your first lessons about money rarely begin with numbers. They begin with emotion. And those quiet childhood moments can shape your adult decisions for decades. Children aren't born knowing what money means. A bill is just paper. A coin is just metal. Meaning is learned. And much of that learning happens without anyone trying to teach it. A child watches a parent open an envelope. The smile disappears. Nobody says a word. Yet somehow, the whole room feels different. Another child hears laughter stop when expenses are mentioned. Someone apologizes for buying something they genuinely needed. In another home, a family shares what little they have, and nobody seems afraid. No one ever says, "Today we're teaching you about money," but the brain doesn't need a classroom. It learns from atmosphere. Psychologist Bandura showed that people learn far more by observing than by being instructed. Children don't just copy what adults do. They absorb how adults feel. Little by little, money stops becoming a tool. It becomes a feeling. Safety, stress, freedom, conflict, pride, shame. The lesson isn't remembered as information, it's remembered as a feeling, and feelings often last far longer than facts. Your brain cannot remember every conversation from childhood. It was never designed to. Instead, it looks for patterns that help predict what might happen next. When the same emotional experience happens again and again, the brain starts treating it like a prediction of the future. Not because it's always true, because it once helped you make sense of the world. If money always arrived with arguments, money begins to feel tense. If every purchase ended with guilt, spending feels dangerous. If praise only came after achievement, earning becomes tied to self-worth. None of these rules were consciously chosen. They were built automatically. Years later, they no longer feel like beliefs. They simply feel true. The beliefs that influence us the most are often the ones we never realize are beliefs. Imagine replacing a phone that's no longer working. You planned for it. You can comfortably afford it. Yet just before you press pay, you hesitate. Not because the numbers don't make sense, because the feeling doesn't. Or maybe you've held something you could easily afford, only to put it back on the shelf. Not because you couldn't buy it, because buying it somehow felt unsafe. Financial psychologists eventually gave these hidden patterns a name: money scripts. Deep beliefs that quietly influence how we earn, save, spend, or avoid money altogether. Most people never notice them, because they don't sound like beliefs. They sound like your own voice. One of the most remarkable things about memory is that it doesn't need to be remembered to influence your behavior. You may not remember a conversation from when you were 7, but your emotional brain often remembers the feeling. That feeling quietly becomes the lens through which every future financial decision is seen. The next time you make a decision involving money, before you calculate the cost, notice the feeling. Ask yourself one quiet question. Is this decision responding to today's reality, or to a story my mind has carried for years? Awareness won't rewrite your childhood, but it can stop an old emotional script from quietly writing your future. Because sometimes, the most valuable thing you'll ever uncover isn't hidden inside your wallet. It's hidden inside a story your mind has been quietly protecting for years. The Decoded Mind, out.